In our fast-paced, noisy world, silence can feel like a rare and precious commodity. But have you ever noticed how uncomfortable many people become when faced with it? A quiet moment in a conversation, a pause during a meeting, or even just sitting alone in stillness can trigger feelings of awkwardness, anxiety, or unease. In this video, we'll explore the psychology behind this discomfort with silence. We'll examine the role of social anxiety, the fear of introspection, and the surprising ways in which silence can actually improve our clarity and presence. So, if you've ever wondered why most people can't handle silence, you're in the right place. Silence. In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, it's something we often avoid. From the chatter of our daily lives to the endless stream of information and entertainment vying for our attention, we're rarely left in true stillness. But when we are, it can evoke a surprising range of reactions. For many, silence isn't peaceful, it's uncomfortable. Think about it. What do you do when a conversation hits a lull? Do you rush to fill the void with small talk? Do you reach for your phone to check for updates? Or do you simply sit with the quiet, allowing yourself and the other person to just be? The discomfort that many people feel with silence is a fascinating psychological phenomenon with roots in various aspects of the human experience. It's not simply a matter of being unused to quiet. Rather, it often stems from deep-seated anxieties and fears. One of the primary reasons silence makes people uncomfortable is social anxiety. Social anxiety is more than just shyness. It's a fear of social situations and interactions, driven by a concern about being judged, evaluated, or rejected by others. In social settings, silence can feel particularly loaded. When a conversation falls silent, people with social anxiety may experience a surge of worry. They might think, what are they thinking of me? Am I boring them? Did I say something wrong? Why isn't anyone speaking? This self-consciousness can make silence feel like a spotlight, highlighting their perceived social inadequacies. They feel a pressure to perform, to keep the conversation going, to prove their social worth. The silence becomes a breeding ground for negative self-talk and fear of judgment. The pressure to fill silence in social situations is often driven by a cultural norm that equates silence with awkwardness. From a young age, we're often taught that conversations should flow smoothly and continuously. Pauses are seen as failures, as evidence of a lack of social skill or connection. This cultural conditioning can lead us to develop a low tolerance for silence. We learn to associate it with negative social outcomes, such as rejection or disapproval. As a result, we become hyper-vigilant in social settings, constantly monitoring the flow of conversation and feeling a sense of responsibility to keep it going. But it's not just social anxiety that makes silence uncomfortable. For many, silence is also associated with introspection, and that can be a scary prospect. In our busy lives, we're often so caught up in external distractions that we rarely take the time to turn inward. We're afraid of what we might find if we actually stop and listen to our own thoughts and feelings. Silence can force us to confront aspects of ourselves that we'd rather avoid. It can bring up uncomfortable emotions, unresolved conflicts, and nagging questions about our lives. We might fear facing our regrets, acknowledging our insecurities, confronting our fears, questioning our choices, feeling our loneliness. In a world that constantly encourages us to look outward for validation and fulfillment, silence invites us to turn inward and find those things within ourselves. This can be a daunting task, especially if we're not used to being alone with our thoughts. The discomfort with introspection is often rooted in a fear of the unknown. We like to feel in control, and silence can feel like a loss of control. When we're constantly busy and distracted, we can avoid confronting the deeper questions about our lives. But silence strips away those distractions, leaving us face to face with ourselves. This fear of introspection is further fueled by a cultural emphasis on constant activity and productivity. We live in a society that values doing over being, achieving over reflecting. We're often made to feel that if we're not constantly busy, we're wasting time, or being lazy. This cultural narrative can make silence feel not only uncomfortable, but also wrong. We might feel guilty for taking time to be still, as if we should always be doing something more productive. This guilt can add another layer of discomfort to the experience of silence, making it even less appealing. Despite these cultural pressures and psychological discomforts, silence offers numerous benefits. It's not just the absence of noise. It's a powerful tool for enhancing our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. One of the most significant benefits of silence is improved clarity. In a world of constant stimulation, our minds are often cluttered with thoughts, worries, and distractions. Silence provides an opportunity for this mental clutter to settle, allowing us to gain a clearer perspective. When we're constantly bombarded with information, it can be difficult to discern what's truly important. Silence allows us to step back from the noise and identify our priorities, values, and goals. It helps us to filter out the extraneous and focus on what truly matters. Silence also enhances our ability to concentrate. Noise and distractions can fragment our attention, making it difficult to focus on a single task. Silence, on the other hand, creates an environment that is conducive to deep work and focused attention. Studies have shown that exposure to silence can increase activity in the brain's default mode network, DMN. The DMN is a network of brain regions that is active when we're not focused on a specific task. It plays a crucial role in creativity, self-reflection, and memory consolidation. Silence provides the space for this network to function optimally, leading to increased insights, creativity, and self-awareness. It's in these moments of stillness that we often have our most profound thoughts and breakthroughs. Beyond clarity, silence also cultivates presence. In our fast-paced lives, we're often so focused on the past or the future that we forget to appreciate the present moment. Silence can help us to ground ourselves in the here and now, connecting us to our immediate experience. When we're not constantly filling the silence with noise or activity, we become more attuned to our senses. We might notice the subtle sounds of our surroundings, the feeling of our breath, or the sensations in our body. This heightened awareness of the present moment can deepen our appreciation for life and increase our sense of gratitude. Silence also allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves and others. In conversations, we often rush to fill any pauses, afraid of the awkwardness. But silence can create space for more meaningful connection. When we're not constantly talking, we're more likely to listen attentively to others. We're less focused on what we're going to say next and more present with what the other person is saying. This active listening can foster empathy, understanding, and intimacy. Silence can also facilitate a deeper connection with our own inner voice. In the quiet, we can hear the whispers of our intuition, our inner wisdom. We can connect with our values, our passions, and our sense of purpose. For many spiritual traditions, silence is considered essential for connecting with the divine or the transcendent. Whether it's through meditation, prayer, or simply spending time in nature, silence provides the space for us to tap into something larger than ourselves. So, how can we become more comfortable with silence? How can we overcome the social anxiety, the fear of introspection, and the cultural conditioning that make us want to fill every void with noise? The key is to start small and gradually increase our tolerance for stillness. Here are some practical steps. 1. Start with short periods of silence. If the idea of sitting in silence for an extended period feels daunting, begin with just a few minutes each day. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes and simply sit. During this time, resist the urge to do anything. Don't read, don't check your phone, don't try to meditate, unless you already have a practice. Just sit and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. 2. Practice mindful breathing. One of the easiest ways to anchor yourself in the present moment during silence is to focus on your breath. Pay attention to the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. Notice the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. When your mind wanders, gently redirect your attention back to your breath. There's no need to force your thoughts away. Simply observe them and let them pass. 3. Explore different types of silence. Silence doesn't have to mean sitting in a completely soundproof room. You can experience silence in various settings, such as spending time in nature. The quiet of a forest, a beach, or a mountaintop can be incredibly restorative. Taking a walk without headphones. Leave your phone at home and pay attention to the sounds of your surroundings. Sitting in a quiet room with soft music. Choose instrumental music without lyrics to create a peaceful atmosphere. Experiment with different types of silence to find what feels most comfortable and beneficial for you. 4. Gradually increase the duration. As you become more comfortable with shorter periods of silence, gradually increase the amount of time you spend in stillness. You might add a few minutes each week, working your way up to 20 to 30 minutes or more. The key is to be patient with yourself and to listen to your body. If you start to feel overwhelmed or anxious, shorten the duration and try again later. 5. Practice being silent in conversation. Once you're comfortable with being silent on your own, start practicing being silent in conversations. This can be more challenging as it involves overcoming the social pressure to fill every pause. The next time you're talking with someone, make a conscious effort to resist the urge to speak immediately after they finish. Allow a few moments of silence to pass before you respond. Notice how this silence affects the conversation. Does it feel awkward? Does it create space for deeper reflection? Does it change the dynamic in any way? 6. Observe your thoughts and feelings. As you sit in silence, pay attention to the thoughts and feelings that arise. Don't judge them or try to suppress them. Simply observe them with curiosity and acceptance. You might notice that your mind is very busy at first, jumping from one thought to another. You might experience feelings of anxiety, restlessness, or boredom. This is normal. With practice, you'll likely find that your mind begins to settle down, and your thoughts become less frequent and less intense. You might also discover a sense of peace, calm, or spaciousness. 7. Cultivate self-compassion. Be kind and patient with yourself as you learn to become more comfortable with silence. It's a process, and there will be times when you feel uncomfortable or tempted to give up. Treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer to a friend who is struggling. Acknowledge your discomfort, validate your feelings, and remind yourself that it's okay to take things at your own pace. 8. Make silence a regular practice. The benefits of silence are cumulative, so it's important to make it a regular part of your life. Aim to incorporate some form of silence into your daily or weekly routine. This could involve starting your day with a few minutes of quiet reflection, taking a silent walk during your lunch break, spending time in nature on the weekends, attending a silent retreat or meditation workshop. The more you practice, the more comfortable and natural silence will become. By gradually incorporating silence into our lives and learning to embrace its discomfort, we can unlock its transformative power. We can move beyond the social anxiety and fear of introspection that keep us running from stillness, and instead discover the clarity, presence, and connection that silence offers.